Definitely a lot of butt. Dizzy every time. Get like lightheaded, you know? Feeling the lack of sleep. We are being visited by the one, the only Aristotle, an FBB enthusiast slash coach slash Persist member, ambassador of the FBB method, and a local coach just across the bay. So welcome to HQ.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
And I was excited to see that this was got scheduled and this was going to happen.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited. Super excited to be here.
We are going to do a full body pull day. So lots of posterior chain work, and we're just kind of getting the legs going to get a little blood flow. But I was actually writing a piece of content. How do you know when you're warmed up? When I said you got to have the peel a layer test going on. So it's like the second you start peeling a layer, you're getting warm enough. You got to be kind of out of breath where you like don't want to be having a conversation, which I'm getting close to. And you got to feel a little local muscle burn and pump. That's when you know the warm up is done. So anyway, I'm going to pick up my pace for 1 minute so I can pass all 3 tests, and then we can go get started. So Nate has been my training partner for the last several weeks. And because he was going to be behind the camera today, he tested the workout for us already this morning. We'll start with some calf raises on this, Smith. We'll do an elevated pigeon pulse.
Okay.
You know that one?
Yep.
And then we'll do just a pretty lightweight hip thrust on the machine.
Okay.
So 3 stations, 3 rounds.
First track was minimalist. This was back early in the pandemic when things initially shut down. I was working at Fitness SF at the time, which is a big box gym out in San Francisco, and I'd just been so used up to that point with with strength training, bodybuilding, lifting heavier loads. So having the gym shut down and then kind of figuring out where to go from there was a challenge. So minimalist kind of gave me an opportunity to take a step back and just kind of start to prioritize some body weight movements again, kind of regain, body awareness and things like that. So it was a lot of fun, Currently following, pump lift. Love pump lift. So it's a 5-time-a-week program, but now that Mark has dropped the 3-day-a-week variation, I'm considering trying that out for a little bit. But I love it. So before FBB, I was kind of just following a bodybuilding strength training based program that I just sort of threw together based on my own individual research, having been in the industry, just kind of taking what I could in terms of what I could apply to myself. And I didn't really necessarily have as much structure as I do with FBB. So, having that extra piece of accountability and guidance has been really huge to just keep me consistent.
Whew. Okay, let's see. We're ready to move into our first strength superset.
All right.
And we're gonna do weighted hip extensions on the 45-degree hyper.
Okay.
And then we're gonna do a lying face pull, which has been a variation that I've been exploring in the last couple months. I really like it as compared to some of the standing and seated variations, just because you get a lot of stability from the bench.
Yeah.
And I find like it's very easy to isolate the traps, rear delts, shoulders. So,
well, that sounds like the reason I've been liking the chest supported, single arm lat pull downs.
Yeah.
Yeah, those have felt great.
So this is gonna end up looking kind of like this. And just make sure your grip is all the way through with these on the back of your hands.
Okay.
And try and pull the back of the hands as far back to your ears as you can. And then just pause for 1 second at the top.
Okay.
And I believe, I'll check, but I think we're doing sets of 12 on that.
Okay.
And maybe 15 over here.
This episode is brought to you by Vivo Barefoot. You can visit vivobarefoot.com/US/look good, move well, and get our special offer. Vivo Barefoot shoes are the shoes that I have been wearing for the better part of the last 2 years. I transitioned to these for all my functional fitness needs for my daily life, and I cannot recommend it enough to go with the Zero Barefoot minimalist shoes that they offer. They're not only attractive and look really cool, but they are going to support your feet, your health, your body in the way that they were meant to be supported. I can't encourage you guys enough. Go get a pair of minimalist shoes, and since we have this awesome deal for you, get a pair of Vivo Barefoots. They look cool, they're super durable. The first pair that I got was back in February of 2020, and I still wear those to this day. They rock.
You can start.
You want to
start there? Yeah, we'll just swap.
Okay.
Get a warm-up set. This is like our warm-up set of each. Like I just, for my low back, really what I just think about is getting a lot of flexion in the hip on the bottom.
Yeah.
It's just gonna make me have to work. What I don't do is I'm never really going up into like
hyperextending.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, this I think probably if I'm gonna bias like more of like a hamstring glute focus here, and low back is just getting some added work at the bottom.
Yeah.
As it's showing up in our training split right now, we're doing a stiff-legged deadlift earlier in the week.
Yeah.
And so that's more our like major low back strengthener.
Right.
So this is just for like
accessory
and like just a different, you know, a different loading mechanism angle. I feel like this is going to be the year my back really grows huge. I think I'm doing pulling exercises correctly after 25 years training. Finally. The one thing I've been doing consistently different is that generally in pulling, and this is true for a lot of pulling exercises, the resistance profile, essentially how hard is the exercise at different places in the range of motion. For pulling exercises, it often is hardest at the end range. So out here, it's easier. In here, it's harder. If you pull and if you're a stickler for range of motion, but you're focused on this end range or this finishing position where the muscles are in the shortened position, you'll find that you'll start to fail for this last 1 or 2 inches way before you start to fail in the first half of the range of motion. But this first half, when your body is stretched, your back muscles are stretched and you're pulling, there's a lot of strength and hypertrophy stimulus that's happening there. Arguably, with some of the latest research, more strength and hypertrophy stimulus happening in this lengthened position. So if you were to stop your set, because you're doing sets of 10, the second you can't touch your chest anymore, or you can't get your arms all the way back, okay, that's my fail point. Then you've left so much room on the table in that first half range of motion. So you see on these sets of face pulls that I'm doing, maybe the last 5 reps, I'm not getting all the way back, as far back as I was on the first 10 reps, but there's still such a big stimulus that's happening there. So, you know, lengthened partials is what they're calling it. What's what the cool kids are calling it. It's just called working a little harder and not quitting. Dude, you don't want to finish too soon on this, right? That's what she said.
You gonna leave that in there? Yep. Yes, yes. You gotta leave that in there. Marcus, I've heard some people, when it comes to this specific movement, I've seen some people intentionally trying to flex and really tuck their rib cage to avoid potentially hyperextending. Yeah. Or maybe getting past neutral. What's your thought on that? Because I noticed you kind of stay neutral throughout, maybe even a little extended.
I mean, I think at the end of the day, whatever helps you get the mind-muscle connection or get like the right body parts working, could be a good cue, you know? Like maybe that's the right cue for somebody who's struggling to like know how to keep their low back out of it.
Right. Maybe their default.
So I mean, I gave that cue kind of to Nate last week because we'd done these for like 2 or 3 weeks, and it was almost like his low back was not functional for the rest of the session because he was biasing too much extension in his low back. But it's like, if you understand, like, let's say you have more muscle awareness or more body awareness, and you can hold neutral position, you can flex your glutes, flex your hamstrings, not work your low back, not change back angle. Right. Then maybe it's, you know, it's not the cue that you need, but yeah,
makes sense.
I'm all for people exploring different positions, and then like, okay, great, do that for 4 to 6 weeks, and now try it where you do a different back position, or maybe intentionally get some, you know, spinal extension, like, because we do that. Yeah. All right, we're gonna go do prone hamstring curls, and we're gonna do cable pullovers.
Sounds good.
So you could do, of course, any of this.
I've actually never done the cable variation of pullovers, so I'm excited to see how this one's gonna feel.